Three, two, one, let's go! Oh, that's loud.
That's loud.
That's loud.
I
like it.
I like it a lot.
It's really good. Two, one,
let's
go! The last show of Tuesday, day 3, 2, 1, let's go! What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Dude, well, this is it. This is day 3.
Day 3 of URTeC.
This is the end. As everyone can see, standing around the booth, there's not less people.
It's a lot of people.
But hey, day 1 and day 2, the vibe was high, the excitement was high.
Dude, just the overall energy from this conference was quality.
Yeah.
Was quality.
And you know what? For the first time, we need to talk about the reality of these conventions. On camera and on the microphones from a young professional perspective. The show is completely overloaded with talks and information.
It is.
Overwhelming for any one person. Even a geologic department, if you have 3 or 4 people, divide and conquer URTeC, still can't.
No.
Still can't.
Well,
There's
not
so much.
only going to see it, but being able to process it and actually interpret it and start putting it in your own model, that's just out of the question.
It's and it's built for that. It's built that way for a reason, I think. You got to have a reason to tell management and to tell the company, like, we got to go here because there's so much information here that allows us to get here. And that's a reasonable and logical way to get us here as young professionals and professionals all across this thing. But really why we're here is because of the happy hours.
You guys play hard.
And because in between the talks, it's when you're talking to people. Brian Bottoms is in the Icon booth and behind the microphones of the Permian Basin Experience podcast.
I'm very happy
we are
to be
about
here.
to break down the Anadarko Basin. We're about to correlate it back to the Permian Basin if we can. And we're about to just look at things on a more regional scale.
Trying to correlate these unconventional reservoirs from the Anadarko to the Permian and back. What ideas are working? What ideas are not working?
Yeah.
Let's dive into it, man.
Because Tapstone is drilling some of the best wells in the Anadarko Basin. So you are valid. You are here. You're drilling some of the best wells in the Anadarko. So let's hear it, man. Let's look at the strat. Let's first, how did you get involved in the industry? Dude, you're a young professional. You're full of energy. It's crazy. I can barely keep up with you right now. And you're getting to know another geologist that you didn't quite know much about before. And now you're talking about your troubles and their troubles. The information in those conversations. What direction did that come from?
So this leads into another debate going on currently.
Should we put up an Anadarko Basin picture real quick? P-Dog, Anadarko Basin. Let's get an image.
Pete.
Anadarko Basin, load it up.
No.
Skippo, get him.
Come on, Pete.
Get him.
The people need to know. Get the people the answer,
Source
Pete.
of sediment, man. Everybody, we always talk about it.
I think most of the limes are being shed off the shelf to the north, but what's interesting is one of the questions coming up still is where is the source of the silt in the Merrimack Play?
Yeah.
And a lot of people propose that it is aeolian in origin.
Oh, it came out of the air.
Yeah.
Damn, dude, that's a really controllable thing to use as a geoscientist.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, there's sand there. And they're like, where'd it come from? The air.
Yeah.
It was just floating around, and it stopped here, and it just settled here.
I can't do it, dude. That's too good. That's too good,
well,
man.
I mean, how do you get this silt bypassing the carbonate bank and
Yeah,
that
we call
you can
it
go
bypass, right?
Oh,
You gotta
yeah.
just-
So, I mean, there was some stuff over at ACE where
so
we were
good.
like, wait, so you're telling me there's this transgressive systems tract, right?
Yep.
So now all of a sudden we have a sea level rise, we're backstepping, but for some reason in the basin we're prograding with these shales. That's where the true innovation is happening.
That's right. All of this thing, Isaac, your ideas, your hypotheses, right, in your way, your ability to cut the elemental data that we get from the cuttings and make sure that they're actually on depth and we're looking at the rock that we would need to talk about. And then also everything that comes on the backside of that with the tools you did. Absolutely fascinating, absolutely world-renowned, and it's the future. If you're not doing this, in my opinion, and who cares about my opinion, but if you are not doing
it's a good
high-level geochemistry at the bit, if you're not doing that and getting that interpretation as fast as you can before putting perfs in the ground, then you're limiting yourself. Stop limiting yourself. Use the rock. Don't use second derivative data. Why are we using petrophysics and geophysics as the truth when we have the rock?
Right on.
Well, we can't use petrophysics or geophysics. And coming out of these talks and just seeing experts in these fields go at it, and they might be over a little minute detail, but that's the best part.
Yep.
That's the best part.
1,000%, dude. 1,000%. I've talked, I mean, some of the highest level, most respected guys that I follow and keep up with, and we talk problems. They're seeing maybe 1-2 talks a day when we come to these things.
Yep.
And it's nothing against the presenters or the format. It's just we have specific problems that are on the front lines of our minds right now. We're trying to answer those questions. So we're coming here to speak to other people to answer those things. We're not trying to even keep track of this crazy schedule of URTeC every year. It's not what's important. That's just it's like the green frog. It's just this thing that's there. But what's really happening in reality is we're here to find these answers and these crazy ideas with the people that we know are doing the right stuff. That's the point of these conventions, and that's why the happy hours are so important and so exciting, and everybody goes to them because that's what we do. We get good food, we're around good people, it's all vibed, it's just awesome. And I would love your feedback and your experience and everything that you got going on. Your answer is just going to be fascinating to me. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay. Well, I think the first thing I would say is that I don't see it as a massive problem.
Oh, wow.
I see it as a massive opportunity.
Hey!
Okay.
You are a half glass full type man.
Because I think one of the biggest challenges we face is because we haven't really touched on artificial intelligence and machine learning. And of course, there's always this joke, that if you're over 35, you use Excel, and if you're under 35, you use Spotfire. Okay. And I think it's the same kind of parallels. So awesome. I started off as a modeling guy, and I still like running models and coming up with deterministic solutions.
Absolutely.
But absolutely now what you're seeing is there is a shift where you would say that that you're using science and models to inform a far smarter artificial intelligence neural network kind of solution. And who's actually sort of, so who's the monkey and who's the organ grinder is perhaps going to change now as the future evolves.
Oh, you know what I liked? Okay, so TGS is doing this ARLAS. What are they called? RLAS? RLAS, Analytics Ready LAS. And the presentation they gave, you see the Delaware Basin, and you see it with the actual sonic logs that were ran, and then they have their interpreted sonic logs. Well, that velocity model, just off of well data, you can see structural complexity in that. If you can now tie that to a 3D seismic, even an old survey, and increase that velocity model in the processing of all that.
Understanding that time to depth relationship at a higher level,
And now let's break down the structural complexity. Now let's make some assumptions of the fracture networking that we know is in the reservoir that's within the vertical resolution of our seismic, but we know it's there. And we have to make assumptions as geologists and geoscientists to say which direction is it going in and how big is it? What's it filled with? Mostly water, mostly oil? I think something like that can actually be pretty powerful, man.
Yeah.
How are you QCing that data? I don't know. How is the machine learning algorithm working? I don't know. But
we got a machine learning expert across the table from
us.
I wouldn't
say
would
that.
Call him a machine learning icon.
You are deep QI.
I think in the last month I have become the machine.
You have
Definitely.
So, what about for you, man? Anything that pops out while you were manning the booth for what? This is the first time manning a booth at URTeC 2019.
Yeah, it's my first time at URTeC, so that was amazing.
You're just manning this thing. People are like, P-Dog, coming up. What's up, man? What's it like?
Yeah, what are those conversations like,
man?
Dude,
what's it like, man? Side. You're on the other side of this thing, dude.
I know. No, it was good. A lot of people asking about the software, what the software can do, how to drill better wells. That's the question. How do we make more money?
Wow.
And more money, less problems.
You got workstations here on the corner of the booth, so you can dive into whatever you want with whatever questions they have. That's pretty good, man. That's powerful. Wow. I don't know what we could do. Maybe there's an event in the future that PBE could sponsor a happy hour with an integrated presentation of something with UPitch. and we invite everybody in the industry to listen to a full integrated presentation, and we have a happy hour together, and
that would be great. Or highlights. We could have we could have like the 1 minute pitches, and they have 50 of them. Well, maybe
that
not
would
that
be
many.
awesome. Just, shotgun blast.
Shotgun them. Next, we're ready.
We can record them. We can maybe. I mean, we're huge advocates for it. We have to have it. Integration is everything, and innovation is on the front, being on the front lines of that, and paying attention to that.
Another way you can help in a massive way is that I'm getting the finalized authorized presentations from everybody, creating a website, linking to their presentation, also including their contact information.
Wow.
So we're going to have that, and if you want to help link that, push it out there, and let your people know about it, your audience know, that would be wonderful.
Cool. We can absolutely do that. Yeah. Skippo, what do you got?
Dude, from this conference?
Yeah.
I went to some geochem talks.
Tasty.
I thought they were going to be really tasty. I was really excited about some of them, but it was more or less, we gathered this data. Yeah. It's super cool data.
Yeah.
And we're going to give you some results later. Yeah. And it was kind of a letdown.
Yeah.
It was kind of a letdown. There was another talk I went to that was really good that was talking about these pockets of TOC and other mechanisms that could potentially be making those areas your sweet spot. And it's structurally driven, but they took into account other things outside of solely TOC. It was like the bug model. It was it was presented at WTGS a while ago.
So these pockets of TOC, which we can see using geophysical tools, structurally driven. So we can say with geologic certainty why they would pile up in those ways.
Exactly.
And then you could see it with the geophysical tools.
Yeah. But still, it's that hand waving to try to make, we're producing more oil out of this formation than, we should.
We have a mass balance problem in this industry.
Yeah, there's this huge mass balance problem. How are we going to fix it? Let's drive, they were saying, drive more bugs into the system and more TOC.
Oh, they were using microbes.
Yeah.
They were using microbes, which is crazy. So the microbes are probably feeding on the gas in the system, feeding on something in the hydrogen, maybe the sulfur. There's all kinds of weird things going on with the microbes. But anyway, so they were using they were fracking with that? They were fracking with microbes?
They were fracking into those formations, yeah.
And then dumping microbes into the system and
hoping for the best.
Wow, probably increasing recovery factors.
Yeah.
Maybe. That's pretty cool, man. All right.
I went to a talk and it said if you increase the thermal maturity of the rock,
Speak up.
If you're increasing the thermal maturity of the rock, you're increasing the permeability, and essentially the more juicier zones will have the highest water production. And that was the conclusion of the talk. Yeah.
Let's recap the comment you just said.
So
an increase in maturity is going to increase permeability. And we're talking shale. We're talking black shales. And your sweet spot is going to produce more water. We should call it brine. It's not water, but it's brine. The permeability is increasing with maturation because of fracturing, because of the expulsion of hydrocarbons with maturity, and it's
through
creating
the microcracks and everything.
It's creating fractures in between all this porosity. Okay, and then why the water?
I guess that's a new pathway for the fluids to flow, right?
Okay, you're talking. You're going to land the horizontal wellness.
Is it that over maturity, which is fracturing that reservoir? Is that causing it to become potentially more oil wet? Is that what's going on? And now the water's moving through the system easier, or is it?
Good question. The kerogen in the system, I think, is what's making it oil wet, right?
Yeah.
The kerogen has this affinity to hydrocarbon molecule, holding it tighter to the surface of the rock, allowing the water molecules or the brine molecules to flow through the system better. The idea of the sweet spot is going to come with a lot of brine is a bad thing. That's not economic at all. That's a bad thing.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, so that was the correlation of the study. So yeah. Very interesting.
So we're going to jump into this study.
Yeah,
so
dude, come on. Deep QI.
So
Doctor us up.
Doctor us up. Let the people know what Deep QI is.
Sweet, man. That's a hell of a presentation. You guys are doing a lot of work.
And on the front lines, innovating.
Yeah, man.
And that brings me to this original slide with all the buzzwords. So with today's technology, we can handle big data. We have the computation power to perform all these complex algorithms through machine learning and deep learning, but in terms of AI, that is completely independent. I think that's still a future technology. We're just not there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man. I agree. All right. Thanks, P-Dog.
No problem.
I mean, this is it. This is the last show. This is 2019 URTeC.
I'm crying a little bit.
Hashtag.
You can't see it, but on the inside, it's sadness.
Where's the whiskey, man? I can't believe we polished it off. I can't even take a shot of whiskey at the end of this thing.
Yeah, I know. That's really the.
It was a hell of a show. We can't thank Icon Science enough, man, for giving us the opportunity and setting up this booth and providing this platform to speak to these professionals and really speak to what's actually happening in these algorithms and what's actually happening in today and
this unconventional world, and trying to figure it all out. I mean, beautiful thing about URTeC, right, is we got a little bit of everything, a little bit of deep QI, geophysics, we had petrophysics, we had, I mean, Lev Vernick back on the show, geologist. We had a little bit of everything, and it's just geochem. It's URTeC, man. It was a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing,
man. P-Dog, we love you, man. I'm
Thanks,
glad
man.
that you had a good time working the booth.
It's awesome.
All right, dude, let's do it. I think we're out.
And we go.